I grew up in a home that was dysfunctional, without a father. My dad was did some things in his life right after I was born that ended up him in prison for 3 years. My mom and dad divorced at that time. I was just a baby. He got out of prison 3 years later, and he met with my mom, and she basically said, the relationship is over. And that was the one time that I got to see my dad. Don't remember any of it. I met Julie. God put her in my life, along with her family, good, strong, God-loving family. Julie, a woman who truly loved God. And at that point, I wasn't looking for a woman who loved God. I was kind of on my own, trying to find my own path, but God again shows himself by introducing me to my wife, and we get involved in church, and then God gets us involved in a small group where I have these wonderful men who become mentors in my life. And these mentors helped me walk through life, but there was still something missing, And I remember distinctly, I was age of 27, and I don't know why that sticks with me, but I was having a hard time, and I remember crying out to God and saying, and asking him why he allowed me to grow up without a father. And as soon as I could utter the words out of my mouth, he said, "But I am your father." And that was the end of it. It's like, yeah, you've been there from the very beginning, from the neighbors who came and took me to church, to the Sunday school bus ministry, to Julie, to all these things. God, he was there. He never abandoned me. I came to a point where I knew that I had some siblings. And my dad had chose to make a decision that he was not going to, wanted a relationship with me, and I had accepted that. But I really had a desire, God put in my heart a desire to meet my siblings. So I probably went back and forth for 10 years on whether I should contact him or not. And one day I sat down and I actually was able to find one of my siblings online through a website. He actually was a believer that ran a Christian family magazine on the Gulf Coast of Florida. And so he was easy to find. And I told him, I just said, my desire is to have a relationship with you, not with my dad. My dad has made his choices, but my desire is to have a relationship with you and my other siblings. And at that point, he said, I get that. He says, but my dad needs to be confronted. My dad shared with me later on that the week before my brother showed up at his house, that he had been convicted in church to go forward, and that God had convicted him of him hiding me. He said I had to repent, of not being the father that I should have been, and then not taking the responsibility I should have taken. And so not only did God prepare my heart, he prepared my dad's heart before my brother even showed up. Forgiveness is not something you have to do on your own. I mean, God forgave us. We don't deserve his forgiveness, but yet he prepared the way for me and my dad to reconcile. My dad, his life was, even though he was a believer, he was very sickly. And when I met my brother said, I doubt that Dad has a year or two to live. It's 10 years later. And I really believe that a lot of it has to do with the fact that that weight has been lifted off of him. I know what unforgiveness does in my life, and what it does is it affects every aspect of my life. It affects my relationships with people that I love. It affects how I spend time in the Word. It taints everything. But when you can truly forgive as you've been forgiven, there's a freedom in that I can't explain. But I'm the person who I am today because of God's love and forgiveness, and my forgiveness of others is because of that example.